Hey everybody, welcome to my tiny kitchen in Japan. My name is Jeremy. Today we'll be cooking okonomiyaki. It's an Osaka favorite, relatively simple to make with just a few specialty ingredients, and it's very delicious. So I'll show you my version. Let's get started. Okonomi means whatever you like, and yaki is really to cook or grill, usually on a direct heat. So okonomiyaki is whatever you like grilled. So this is a very versatile dish. Whatever you like, you can put in this pancake. So this is one of my favorite dishes to make when I go home. So every time I go home, I end up making this for my friends, family, neighbors, and it's always a big hit. It's important to also mention there are two types of okonomiyaki. There's Osaka style and Hiroshima style. We'll get to Hiroshima style okonomiyaki in another video, definitely. But for now, we'll stick with the little more accessible and a little easier put together Osaka style. Because Osaka style, you basically throw your ingredients together and grill it in a pan. The base is usually pretty much the same. It's flour, egg, water, and cabbage. And for a little Japanese flavor, dashi. Dashi is a Japanese broth made from bonito flakes and kombu, but it's very common to use it in a granulated form like this. Maybe eventually we'll get to making some of our own, but for dishes like this, using granulated is perfectly acceptable. Okay, so let's get our batter started. Into our bowl, we'll put about a cup of flour, and into that, our tablespoon of dashi, 1 egg, and about a cup of water. Now you could use just a cup of dashi if you have fresh dashi, but in this case we'll use granulated with a cup of water. We'll whisk this together until it looks like a pancake batter. That's looking pretty good. Just to make it a little lighter, we'll add a teaspoon of baking powder. This is optional, but I just find that it helps making it a little lighter and fluffier, which is what we're looking. Typically in Japan, it's made using yamaimo, which will make it nice and fluffy. But instead of that, we will use baking powder since it's a little more accessible if you're making this overseas. And into that, we will take our cabbage. We'll take about 1/8 of a head of cabbage. So we'll give this a fine chop and add it to our batter. Once it's looking like this, we can add it directly into our batter. So this is our basic batter. And to this is where you will add your okonomi, whatever you like. There are a couple of optional things that I'm going to add to this right now. And if you don't have them, that's totally fine. You can skip them. This is agedama. This is some of the leftover pieces from tempura. This is collected and then used in okonomiyaki batter for a little flavor and texture. The other thing we will use, totally optional, is sakura ebi. These are little dried shrimp. Again, add a little nice extra depth of flavor. Totally optional. At this point, you could also add in some kiri mochi, which is a dried mochi that when you put it in the batter and cook it, it becomes like the texture of cheese. Now it's time for the okonomi. I am going to use both pork and seafood, which is pretty typical. If you don't eat pork, you can use a different meat. You can just skip it all together, just make a seafood one, or you can make a vegetarian one. This is up to you. But today, I'll be using some shrimp, scallops, squid, and octopus. The shrimp you could throw in whole or just give them a quick little cut. So you get nice little chunks of shrimp throughout the okonomiyaki. The scallops also I will cut in half and then throw into our batter. Whatever seafood you have will work. Even if you have a frozen mixed seafood, that's fine too. It will work. Just remember to defrost your seafood first. Throw in my squid. The octopus will cut into some chunks just to have a little bit in the batter. Okay, seafood in the batter. So that's our basic batter. We can get ready to now grill it in a frying pan. Okay, so we have our batter ready. So we're gonna cook it in just a frying pan. Heat it up. Once it's hot, we'll be adding a neutral oil. While our pan is heating up, we'll talk about meat. So today I'll be using some thinly sliced pork belly, but I know when I go home and I make this, it can often be hard to find thinly sliced pork belly like this. So I started using bacon instead. So if you can't find thinly sliced pork belly, you can easily use bacon, because this is essentially just uncured, unsmoked bacon. Okay, so our pan is getting hot. We'll throw in our oil. We're using canola. You can use any neutral flavored oil. Don't use olive oil or sesame oil for this. So we've switched out our whisk for a ladle, which is very important for portioning. So we'll use about 2 ladles full per pancake. So we'll just put some in the middle. Here, a little sizzle, that's a good sign. And maybe just a little more. Okay. All right, so this is a dish that's cooked in front of you when you go out to eat it. And often on the griddle right in front of you, they'll just break it up a little, make sure everything's mixed, and then you'll form it back into your pancake shape. Okay, so we've reformed it into our pancake shape. It's gonna cook for about 6 to 7 minutes on each side on a medium-high heat. So just watch it, give it a little shake, make sure it's not stuck to the bottom of the pan. At this point, we're going to add our pork on top of this. Our sliced pork belly is a little long, so we will cut this in half. Just give this a quick cut in half and wash down my board and knife right away. Okay, so we will add a layer of pork belly, or if you're using bacon, bacon, or if you're using another meat, another meat. So we'll add a layer of pork belly right across the top of our okonomiyaki. So don't worry about the fat, that's the good stuff. When we flip it, it's going to cook on that side, so the fat's gonna help it from not sticking, give it flavor, and become nice and crispy on that side. We'll layer up the whole top of the okonomiyaki until you can't see the batter. We're gonna flip this, and the pork belly will be grilling directly on the surface. To make sure it's crispy but not burnt, we're gonna take a little bit of batter and just paint the surface of the pork. That'll help it from not burning, but still make sure it forms a nice crust. That is smelling really good. Okay, so the underside is browning quite nicely. So now it's time to flip. It's very nice and golden. That's what we want. Now, you don't have to flip like that. You can certainly just use 2 spatulas and flip it. Only do that if you're confident. On this side, we'll cook it for another 6 to 7 minutes. While our okonomiyaki is cooking, we'll talk about toppings. So this is where the specialty ingredients come in. You'll definitely be able to find them at your local Asian market. But if not, I'll put some links down below so you can order them online. So 2 essential toppings for okonomiyaki are okonomiyaki sauce, which is made from dates. It's a little sweet, a little tart, and to balance it, some Japanese mayo. Now, Japanese mayo is a little different from mayonnaise that maybe you're used to. It has a little mirin in it, I believe, which is like a sweet rice wine. So it is a little sweeter, but I do think it is essential for this dish. And the shape of this bottle is very important for how we will top this later. So definitely seek out some Japanese mayo. So I think we are almost there. So it is time to plate. Get your plate. And there we have it. This is our okonomiyaki. So while this one is done and we're going to top this, we will start our next one. This is a good opportunity between the first and second one. If you want to change up the flavor, add a little kimchi, add a little cheese, a little kirimochi, whatever you like. Try to adjust the flavor a little and make a different variety for your next one. I often do that. Okay, while our second one's cooking, it's time to top our first one. Let's get topping. First, the okonomiyaki sauce. Go one way, turn the plate, and go the other. Next, the mayo. So we'll go kind of in a diagonal pattern like that. Turn the plate. Another specialty ingredient, this is kind of optional. I'll also leave the link below. It's called Aonori. It's like a seaweed, just to give it a little color. So we will sprinkle a little Aonori on top. And last, very important, Katusobushi. These are dried bonito flakes. This is the fun part, because if we did this right, when we top our okonomiyaki with the Katusobushi, it should dance a little in the heat. So it looks like we got some moving a little bit. That's a good sign. The Katusobushi gives a nice smoky flavor, so definitely an essential topping. There it is, okonomiyaki. Let's give it a taste. Typically, you just break it apart with your chopsticks, like this. Let's give it a taste. It's awesome. The batter is nice and fluffy. We got just rich flavor from the seafood, from the pork. This will definitely impress your friends, your family, whoever. Give this a try. Let me know how you like it. Let me know in the comments below what kind of seafood, what kind of meat, or what kind of vegetables you put in. Let me know your okonomi. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. What do you mean I'm not in frame?